guys, it's Laurie of Laurie's Heirloom Sewing and 3 Acre Lake, where I do sewing and crafting videos. I also do baking videos, and under 3 Acre Lake with my sister who lives 2,000 miles away in Alabama. She's a master gardener and I'm learning from her, so she guides and then I do videos on gardening. So today I ordered a pattern for myself. You know, if you have been following my channel, if you are a subscriber, thank you. And if you are a visitor, I'm so glad that you're here. If you want to hit that thumbs up, that would be wonderful. So basically what I do for the most part is I'll take a pattern that looks like I can kind of multifunction the pattern, and I'll make other weird things from those pattern pieces. So for example, last month I had a pajama pattern and I made my sister, where it's in Alabama, they have been like just sweltering in the heat down there. So I made her some bespoke shorts and recently, which she hasn't gotten it yet, but I sent her a pair of pants from that same pattern with a beautiful, so this is the fabric I used for the pants, and then I made pockets. The pajama pattern did not have a patch pocket on the back, and I lined those with a beautiful watercolor floral print, and I made cuffs at the bottom of the legs, so that also is part of the design of the pants. And that video is up and out, so if you want to see it, I'll try to remember to link it. But anyway, I live in Washington State. Washington State has a very different climate. But anyway, so we being over here, it is it sometimes feels a little humid here, but it's not as humid as it is down in the southern part of the US, and it's a little bit more cool. So it's September 8th of 2020, and I'm already, well, I always have on a flannel shirt. Even on a hot day, what would be considered a hot day here, I don't feel the heat the way that most of the people who might be native to this state or who have lived here for a long time, because I'm not native to Washington State. So for me, this is like 80-degree clothing. I have on a t-shirt and a long sleeve flannel shirt, so that's just that's just who I am. So, but anyway, I have been thinking about a jacket. Let's see, where do I begin? I guess I could show you this first. Okay, so if you know me, you know this pair of scissors is my paper pair of scissors. This pair of scissors is my fabric. So, and I'm like, you know, kind of wiggy about my scissors, so this will probably last a long time. The fabric scissors, I'm probably going to replace them really soon. In fact, I was looking online a little bit ago at some scissors. So we'll see. But anyway, so this is my latest idea. So I have decided that I'm going to use this pattern right here to make myself a jacket, and I'm going to put two patch pockets at the front, and I'm not going to put a closure. I'm going to just leave it like an open front jacket, so it'll have the basic placket that this has without buttonholes and buttons. So if you look, well, obviously this is the reverse picture here. Let's look at the inside and see if we can't get a good idea on the line drawing on the instruction sheet at what that's going to look like. Okay, there we go. Okay, so look at the buttons. Well, they won't apply to me, So I'm going to do the collar the way the collar is drawn, and probably the sleeves for sure. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a split side seam like that. I might. I mean, I think it might lend a little bit of formality. Actually, yes, I probably will, because I want to show you the fabric I chose. It hasn't arrived yet. It's supposed to arrive on Thursday. So I have a couple pictures here. And what? Oh, they would be in my gallery. I have so much going on. Okay, so this is called Robert Kaufman. Kaufman Shetland flannel. It is solid maroon fabric by the yard, and that is more orange than the picture on my monitor actually was. I tried everything, but I didn't want to filter the picture, so I would be very surprised if this fabric arrives that color, but I won't be upset. It's just that the picture that I see on my computer monitor and this are like miles apart. So maroon, just picture that color. And then this is also a flannel, and I'm going to put this plaid print I'm going to put it on the sleeve cuffs, so right there. I am going to line the two pockets that I plan to put on either side, and if I do this little split right here, I might do a trim like this that I would put over the raw edges of that split right there. I don't know if you can see it, but that's kind of my plan. But I do feel like I would like to have two pockets in the front right there. So that's my plan. Now, I did not know how much fabric to order, so I'm going to take a look at the pattern. Sometimes if you order your pattern online, they only show you this view, and often I will go online and try to find other, you know, like somebody had it on an Etsy shop, or somebody used it in a video or whatever, and see if I can find this information. On my channel, when I do a pattern, specifically when I do a pattern, I will go through the pattern explaining all of the steps, or I will go through the pattern and say, you know, this is incorrect information. What they meant to say was, or they've got you putting this pattern piece on the wrong way, or, you know, I'll try to suss out any of those problems that you may encounter with your attempt to do the pattern. And I do that before my fabric is cut. A lot of times, like now, before my fabric has even arrived, I will do a walkthrough with this pattern. And I have found that what that does is, number one is it can instill a sense of confidence, which is good, and it can also help you in determining what, you know, like, wow, I really want to do that. I think I can try that. I feel so confident, and I'm going to go get that pattern and I'm going to do it. And so then you have a whole day to have your pattern and get it ready and do all of those little preliminary steps that you're going to need to do, and then we can start together. So that's what I'm going to do. I would like for everybody to feel confident and capable at attempting to do something like this pattern, Simplicity number 3971. Okay, so this is what it looks like. You get your general directions. It'll tell you the markings. It'll tell you how to cut. It will tell you if there are any special cutting notes that you need to know. It will tell you how you need to set up to sew, like if it's 5/8 seam allowance or if it's a different seam allowance. It will give you the way they made the garment. So if it says press the seams open, that means that this that you're looking at right here, the ones that these people here are wearing, that for some strange reason remind me of Monica and Chandler from Friends, at first glance anyway. This was made, both the top, the outer top and the pants, and the top and the pants that the gentleman is wearing were made this way. So whatever is in here is how this was made. So if it says press seams open unless otherwise indicated, clipping when necessary so that seams will lie flat, that's how those were made on the cover of the envelope. Okay? Alright, it gives you all of your pieces and all the numbers that go to each piece, and then you have your cutting layout. And sometimes this is the part that can really intimidate and almost shut down the desire to create something. And for me, it should not be that way. It's just, this is the instructions that you need to do this. So hopefully we can get through the cutting layout and not be too intimidated. Alright, so for the pajama top, let's see, oh here it is, right here. This is the top, which we're not doing. We're not doing this. This we're not doing. We're doing piece B, or view B, and that is the top. And when you look at this, it says B right here to the side. So you know that this is what you're looking at in here for view B, for the cutting layout. It also tells you that up here in this little special section right here. Okay? So it's going to tell you exactly how to lay out both the top and the bottom, and we don't want the pajama bottom, at least in this particular iteration. I don't. I am only going to be cutting out the top. So I will be looking at this part right here. This down here, we'll see piece 11 and piece 12 are the pants. Piece 4 is the pocket that goes on the front of the pajamas, and piece number 6 is the collar that goes on the pajamas. So I will have all of this fabric to put the rest of my pattern pieces on, plus the additional pattern pieces that I'm going to need to cut out, like the 2 front patch pockets that are not included in this pattern, and the cuffs. I will have a different cuff for mine. And I don't know yet if what they're showing is a separate piece or if what they're showing is just a fold. So you can easily, using these keys, figure out what pattern pieces you're going to need and how you're going to need to lay those out. Okay? It will be a little bit different since I'm not making the pants portion. I'm only making the top, the long sleeved top version. I need piece number 3 and piece number 5, and I need piece number 7 and piece number 6, and what is piece number 9? Sleeve band. Okay, so there is a piece that goes around the wrist. So I'll need 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 I don't need piece 10, which is a buttonhole guide, because I'm not going to be doing buttons and buttonholes on the front of my jacket. It's going to just be an open front jacket with patch pockets in the front at the hem. So that is basically what I'm going to need. And when I do this layout, since it is different, they have meshed two complete separate elements on one big piece of fabric. Since that's going to be different, I will demo that when my fabric arrives. Okay. Now, as most patterns go, this one's pretty normal. It has basic information on page 1. Then, when we turn this page over, more than likely it's going to start with the first pattern, the View A, and it does. View A is the tank top, and I don't need any of the tank top info. It's a simple part of this pattern right here. These are literally all of the instructions right there for the tank top. Okay, so now we're going to go back up here to pajama top B and C. The very first step is you're going to stay stitch the front and back neck edges a ½ inch away from the cut edge in the direction of the arrows, and that is important. So instead of going stitch, 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 stitch all the way around that neck edge, you're going to come in and you're going to stop here, and then you're going to come in from the other side and you're going to stop right in the middle. So you stay stitched to here and you stay stitched to here. On the back, this big piece right here is on the back. This piece is the front, and there'll be 2 of those. So you're going to stay stitch the neck, and then you're going to stay stitch the other side. So each one of those pieces would get stay stitched. Then if you're doing that top pocket, you'll go ahead and prepare the top pocket, and then you'll put it on the outside, and you are supposed to pin the pocket to the left front, placing the upper corners at the large dots. So you'll have marked the left side of the outer front, and then that's where you would put that pocket. Okay, then we're going to stitch that shoulder seam matching up those notches. Then we're going to take the fusible interfacing and we're going to pin it to the wrong side of the collar. Then we're going to cut diagonally across the corners so that it will be enclosed with the seams. That I also have to show you. It sounds really weird and complicated when you read it, but when you do it, it makes sense. So this I will be showing you, and this I will be showing you. So you're going to fuse the interfacing to the back of this, to the collar section. This is the part that goes around the back of your neck. Okay, you're going to machine stitch 5/8 of an inch from the notched edge of the collar, and you're going to clip the notched edge of the collar to the stitching at the small dots, and that's going to be right up here at the top, right there. And then with the right sides together, you're going to stitch the facing to the collar. Now there's a collar piece and a collar facing piece. And we'll talk about all of that when we're working on the fabric. So, and I know that collars can be like, what in the world am I doing? They really, once you've done one, it's like, oh my gosh. It's just like putting a puzzle together. Each piece fits exactly the way it's supposed to, and you're going to see how simple and easy they are. So then we're going to turn the collar, and this picture doesn't really show this, but it's like this is inside, and then this is going to go up and cover it. This little wrinkle right here and the dotted, the grayish part right here, that's going to go up and over and kind of hide that white part. When you see this cross hatching really close together where it looks gray, that's the right side of the fabric. Anything that is white or solid white is the wrong side of the fabric. Okay, so we're going to clip the neck edge to the garment clip the neck edge of the garment to the stay stitching. So we did that stay stitching, and now we're going to clip. And then on the outside, so we're going to have the collar is going to be like this. This is the back of the back of the jacket or pajama top. And we are going to lay that collar down on top of that and pin. And then we're going to baste. We're going to baste the collar and the facing sections to the front neck edge as far as the small dot. And again, when you see the pattern pieces, you'll be like, oh, okay, get it. Okay. So we're going to continue, and that's basically, that's the shoulder seam of the front facing and the collar, and it will be pretty much in the same place as the shoulder seam on your jacket or your pajama top. And I really can't explain how we get from this to this until I have my fabric and I can show you what I'm talking about. My fabric should arrive on Thursday. So this is a whole lot of facing and then turning to the inside and pressing. And then this is also turned, and right there is what I was talking about. See how that facing is just sitting right on top of that shoulder seam? That's exactly what you want. And this is the back of that collar, and it's going to come down and hide the raw edge of the back of the shirt of the pajama top. Okay, so you're going to turn the facing to the inside, so it goes from outside to inside. You're going to stitch the pressed edge of the collar over the neck seam. And then to keep the facing in place, you're going to tack it at the shoulder seam right there. You can do that by hand. If you don't want to do it by hand, you can literally just do a stitch in the ditch, but you've got to be very careful. I mean, you don't want this to never move. You want there to be a little bit of wiggle room because it's a pajama top. If you stitch it down real tight, you know, you might have shoulders that you can't move around in. Okay, now we're going to get those sleeves out, and we're going to pin the right side of the sleeve to the right side of the armhole edge with the center small dot at the shoulder seam. So on the fabric, on the pattern piece for the sleeve, so at the very top up here at this arch, there will be a dot. And we're going to put that dot at the very top where the center seam, the shoulder seam is. And we're just going to put that all together, and then we're going to do a 5/8 of an inch seam all the way around just like this. And then we're going to do it again. So we're going to stitch 5/8 of an inch, and then we're going to go back again, and we're going to stitch 1/8 of an inch from the raw edge. That's basically to help that stress point on your shoulder. Then we're going to pin the front to the back all along. We're going to start right here at the bottom of this sleeve, and we're going to pin, 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 and then we're going to come up here and we're going to go pin, 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 and we're going to stop where that dot is, because this particular pattern has that split hip hem. Then with the right sides together, we're going to stitch double notched ends of the sleeve cuff or the sleeve band, which goes around your wrist, together. And then we're going to fold it in half, and with wrong sides together and raw edges even, we're going to just baste around the raw edges. Then we're going to pin the band to the lower edge of the sleeve, matching the seams and having the raw edges even. And again, I'll show you what I mean. And if you're not sure, you can always go to that video that I referenced earlier that I did. I kind of made up the cuff at the bottom of the pants, but this is essentially what I did right here. If you want to wait for this, absolutely fine, I don't blame you. Okay, and then on the outside, you're going to pin it, oh we already said that, matching the seams and having the raw edges even, and then you're going to stitch it 5/8 of an inch, and you're going to press the seam toward the sleeve. Then we're going to press up the hem, And the way we do that is we press under 1/4 of an inch on the raw edge, and then we stitch close to the inner pressed edge. And then we're going to turn the facing, which we had all down the front of our jacket or our pajama top, and we are going to turn that facing to the outside. We're going to stitch across the facing at the bottom, and that will be exactly 1 1/4 inches above the lower edge. So this is the lower edge. Well, let's just say this is it right here. This is the top right here. So we are going to stitch our facing way up here, and then we're going to turn it back, and it will bring over and under the lower edge of the garment that needs to be hemmed, and it will naturally want to fold up and be caught up as we're going to make the hem. So we turn that facing to the inside, and you can kind of see that right there. We're going to press up the hem, press under 1/4 of an inch on the raw edge, and then stitch that hem in place. And you can either do that with the sewing machine, or you can do it by hand, however you prefer to do this. And then from there you go ahead and you mark all your buttonholes. I recommend that you create some type of a graph, either some paper with a couple buttonholes evenly spaced that you can move, or if you have a buttonhole guide, those are very nice. But you can easily figure out where you want those buttonholes based on your size. And when I say where you want them, I don't mean up and down. I don't mean vertically. I mean horizontally on that placket. So if you want something that's a little loose, then put your buttonholes in an area where not too close to this edge, because then they're just going to be always coming undone. They'll just pop out undone. But because these buttonholes are horizontally shaped, they're not going to be very strong. So keep that in mind. And they are nightwear. And we do a lot of moving in our sleep. Okay? And then of course you would need to decide, do I want the buttonholes on the left or the right? And if you're female and you want your buttonholes traditionally placed, they would go on the right hand side. And if you are male and you want your buttons and buttonholes traditionally placed, of course they would go on the left hand side. So there we have that. And then I will just be simply cutting out all of these pattern pieces. Not all, I take that back. I'm only going to cut out the pattern pieces for the top sleeve, collar, facing, front and back, and sleeve band. I think I got everything. And I will fold those the way I always fold them, which is with the pattern number out where I can see it immediately. This pattern, there's a lot to it, so it has been pressed, and pressed pretty hard. I mean, it was like pressed. So I will need to work on having this pressed out flat for my use. Okay, so that's where we are at the moment, and as soon as that fabric arrives, I will be so happy and excited that we can get going on this. Okay, so one of the things that I wanted to try to do today, I have this piece of fabric. I've had it for a long time, not 100% sure how old it is, but I've used it for a lot of things. So what I'm planning to do is draw a pumpkin shape on the front. It may end up looking more like an apple, but for the moment, okay. And they're not at least in my book anyway, they're not even, when they when pumpkins grow, they grow a little lopsided. So that's kind of what the look I'm going for, is less perfection. Okay, so right there. So now, let's see, I do want to cut that out. Alright, so now I'm going to stitch all the way around the pumpkin. I have right sides of this fabric together. My design is drawn and I'm just going to do a straight stitch. So the next step in this part of the project is to cut out inside your stitching lines. So I'm just going to fold this in half and just cut like that. And now I can just kind of remove this fabric that is on the inside of my pumpkin shape. The concaves and the convex as I go around the pumpkin shape. Okay, so next we're going to take the fabric. This is right sides together, and we're going to, there's that seam that we made, and we're going to fold along that seam so that we are turning our pumpkin fabric out so that the right side is showing. Okay, so I have this little pumpkin shape turned so that my fabric is now right sides out. I have a finished seam all the way around the edges, and I have a piece of fabric that says autumn. There are pumpkins kind of poking through this little pumpkin-esque shape, as well as, of course, a bird. You know, oh my heart, right? So I also have some green fabric that I'm going to make a leaf out of right here. So this will actually be top appliqued, I guess is the way to say that. This is reverse applique. This is not quite that pointy. I'm not sure. There. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to just simply stitch all the way around, just about 1/4 inch all around this little shape. Okay, now trim out these threads. So that's what I have right there. And now I'm just going to scrunch this little, I'm scrunching and scrunching. Okay. It's just so cute. Honestly, guys, I love that. I think it's such a cute look. I don't know why it is appealing to me so much right now, but it really is. Okay, so next I need to pin down this little piece of backing fabric here. And the fun thing about that stitch is that it is wide enough that you could literally thread some black ribbon through it. You could weave, you know, maybe even a piece of black floss or something up underneath. I think that would be really cute too, but I'm not doing that. Okay, and where's my little, okay, so here's my little pumpkin stem. Okay guys, so I'm going to try something kind of radical. I didn't want to cut into my biggest piece of black twill, so what would happen? Yeah. just going to stitch these two pieces together. This little stitch right here, and like that when I put it inside. Okay, so now this will become the back piece. I end up either stabbing myself or, you know, having I just have too many accidents. So I use the little X's that I mark with my friction ink pen, and all is well. Edges like so, and I'm going to stitch over them, and then I'm going to back tack and then come back forward again. Okay, and now I'm going to clip my these little seams. And my favorite way to do these, see if I can show you. I'll start with this one. I am going to trim close to my stitch, and when I get to the end, I'm going to angle my scissors and cut it like that. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. Get to the end and pivot. So that's what I'm left with, just like that. Up, but I do have some fiber fill that I need to put in. I love this little door hanging gadget holiday decoration. This right here, I'm just in love with this. Absolutely. And that word autumn is so nice. So this evening I will stitch this up. It won't take very long because it's not very big. And when I upload this video, I will post a picture. Thank you again so much for joining me while I crafted this fun little project. I'm really enjoying this reverse applique, and of course the little I don't know what it is about these little, you know, shabby looking projects, but they're just singing to me for some strange reason. But maybe because I've never done them before. This is all new to me. Alright guys, thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!